spin arrangement, it's intact throughout the temperature. So that basically means that the chirality switching is completely means that the metal to insulator kind of transition is completely governed by this chirality switching only, and not by any kind of magnetic structural reorientation. So now to verify our claim, we have performed this first principle DFT calculation with collaboration with Professor Wagmare at JNCSR. So here you can see for negative and positive chirality state how the band structure is there, and those two band structure differs by 87 milli-electron volt per formula unit. And if you look onto this portion of the band structure, you can see that there is a Lipschitz transition present. So that basically means there is a change in the Fermi surface topology, and it's mapped here. You can see for negative chirality state there is a finite electron pocket present, and for positive chirality state it vanishes. So that means there is a Lipschitz transition going on, and it also supports our claim that there is a metal to insulator kind of transition also present inside the material. Now we have also performed this Berry curvature and anomalous Hall effect measurement through DFT, and you can see for negative and positive chirality state how this Berry curvature hotspot are distributing. And this anomalous Hall effect magnitude we have also verified experimentally, roughly we have verified. So now to conclude, this is the best of our knowledge that is the first conclusive experimental evidence for this vector spin chirality switching in a non-collinear antiferromagnet. And this vector spin chirality switching is driven by concomitant magnetic, electronic and quantum geometric transition. And we have also demonstrated Mn3CRN as a new non-collinear antiferromagnetic system. So obviously now I would like to thank all of my collaborators, my lab mates, and obviously my supervisor, Professor Vivas Saha. So thank you for your kind attention, and I will be happy to take any questions.
Thank you for taking time. We can have quick questions.
Hello. Is there any method to extract chiral Hall effect experimentally? Means from anomalous Hall, did you extract chiral Hall effect?
Still now we have not extracted chiral Hall effect.
Okay, then this is theoretically just you explained how it can come, right?
What can come?
Chiral Hall effect
Not chiral Hall effect. I have not explained chiral Hall effect.
means you have
like I have explained here this vector spin chirality switching.
Okay.
So like it's the spin reorientation, how it switches from negative to positive, like, okay. So see here, when the spin was, so you can see as we increase the temperature, those two manganese spins reorient themselves in such a way that, see, it is the negative chirality state, and as it goes on increasing, it's a positive chirality state. So we establish this switching behavior through the help of this anomalous Hall effect, also this XMCD, XMLD. So
okay.
yeah.
So thank you, Aritro, for
Yeah,
this nice talk. I have a general understanding question because I'm not in this field. So the thing is that you mentioned about your Lipschitz transition,
Yes.
which is essentially calculated, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Can you shed some light how you can experimentally justify this Lipschitz transition? Of course, I see this, you have a metal to insulator transition, and then definitely this is something to do with the band structure.
Yes, yes.
It's clear, but how do you really quantify or justify experimentally the Lipschitz transition?
Yeah, so for that, sir, one technique is this RPS measurement. But we are unable to do that because it is a non-collinear antiferromagnet, so it's very difficult to perform this RPS measurement. But we have a plan to do this RPS measurement to directly visualize this Lipschitz transition. So that's a very,
Indeed.
yeah.
And also you have the
Yeah.
relevant temperature scale.
Yes,
It's
yes, yes,
170
yes,
degrees
yes, yes,
individual.
yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Aritro.
Thanks.
Now we move on to next speaker, Priyanka Yadav.
Yeah.
methodology. After we had performed the basic characterization where the room temperature XRD pattern exhibits that the system, it crystallizes in a single phase L10, that is tetragonal structure, with a lattice parameter of 3.556 angstrom and C by A ratio 1.42, and average crystallite size was determined as 25 nanometer. Furthermore, from the FSM measurements, we observed that the nanoparticles are spherical in nature with an average particle size of 45 nanometer, and they exhibit moderate size dispersion. We had also verified the elemental composition using the EDX measurements. Moving on, we had measured the magnetic response of the system in both the low temperature as well as the high temperature regime, where we observed that the system exhibits a ferromagnetic phase transition at 874 Kelvin, and it has a saturation magnetization of 3.02 μb per formula unit. Further, we have also evaluated the magnetic anisotropy, magnetocrystalline anisotropy in the system using the law of approach to saturation, and the K effective was determined to be 0.238 megajoule per meter cube, and the corresponding exchange constant and the spin wave stiffness constant were derived as 2.296 micro erg per centimeter and 8.56 milli electron volt Newton per meter square. If we look at the figure A inset, the system in the low temperature exhibits the ZFC magnetization. It undergoes a monotonous decrease up to 50 Kelvin, beyond which there is a pronounced dip on further lowering the temperature. Similar reduction is also observed in the FC magnetization curve when accompanied with the significant bifurcation observed between the two magnetization curve. It proposes that the system might have magnetic frustration. In order to address this, we have performed the isothermal magnetization measurements where the system was field cooled to 10 Kelvin in the presence of 500 Ørsted, and after holding the system at 10 Kelvin for 1000 seconds, the field was removed and the magnetization was then measured as a function of time, and the system exhibits a clear temporal decay, again supporting the presence of magnetic frustration. Also, on fitting the remnant magnetization corresponding to the stretched exponential parameters, we observe that the system shows the characteristics of frustrated or glassy dynamics. Furthermore, to probe the nature of this magnetic frustration, we had performed the magnetic AC susceptibility measurements at the exciting field of 2.5 Ørsted across 9 to 698 Hertz frequency range, and a pronounced cusp in the real component of magnetic susceptibility and the corresponding peak in the imaginary component of magnetic susceptibility exhibited a shift towards the higher temperature with increasing frequency as well as a reduction in the amplitude. Now, this magnetic frustration was further evaluated by using several models, and we observed that the system, it has a Majorstad parameter of 0.26, which is quite high. Also, the system exhibits cooperative spin freezing, which is basically, it was proposed that it is suggested that the system is having strong interacting ferromagnetic clusters present between the glassy matrix, which could be due to the presence of interparticle interaction or the local magnetic ordering within the nanoparticle ensemble. We had also performed the magnetotransport measurements where we observed that the longitudinal resistivity, when measured as a function of temperature across 2 to 300 Kelvin, exhibits a monotonous decrease in the higher temperature range, which is accounted for the phonon-mediated scattering process. However, in the intermediate temperature range, we observe that the resistivity, it exhibits a t-square dependence, which could be ascribed to the electron magnon or electron scattering, Coulomb scattering. In order to verify which of the two mechanisms is dominant, we have evaluated the comparable slopes of the resistivity at two applied magnetic fields, and we observe that the slopes corresponding to the two magnetic fields are comparable. Hence, it suggested that this electron-electron Coulomb scattering is the more dominant process, which is also supported by the high value of spin wave stiffness constant as observed from the magnetic measurements, which basically inhibits the magnon-mediated scattering process. Furthermore, the resistivity, it reaches a minima at 45 Kelvin, followed by an anomalous upturn on further lowering the temperature, which could either be ascribed to the Kondo scattering or the spin polarized tunneling between the grain boundaries, or the disorder enhanced electron-electron interactions. However, the insensitivity to magnetic field, as observed in the resistivity of the two, corresponding to the two applied magnetic fields, suggests that the observed anomalous upturn is due to the presence of the disorder enhanced electron-electron interaction. Now, to substantiate the experimental findings and to have a better insight, we have also performed the first principles calculations, where we first began with establishing the structural stability of our system, as the available literature there's a discrepancy in the available literature which suggests, as some of the studies are suggesting, that the cubic state is the ground state, or while the comparative studies hence suggested that the tetragonal structure is more energetically favorable, which is also consistent with our calculations. On performing the electronic structure calculations, we observed that both the spin channels exhibit metallic character with a significant value of spin polarization of 40%. We had also calculated the magnetocrystalline anisotropy energy, which was obtained as 0.728 megajoule per meter cube, which is of the same order of the experimentally evaluated value. And on probing the effect of tetragonal distortion of our system, we observed that the system exhibits uniaxial anisotropy in most of the studied range except the near cubic limit. And our system is also is comparable to the well-established other materials for the corresponding magnetocrystalline anisotropy. Furthermore, to study the effect of surface-driven states and the finite size effects, we had constructed nano clusters of varying sizes, and we observed that both the clusters corresponding to 49 atoms and 43 atoms and 79 atoms exhibit ferromagnetic order. Also, the magnetic moment, it exhibits a direct relation with the cluster size. Although in Husler alloys, the PD hybridization tends to reduce the magnetic moment. However, the reduced hybridization at the surface is leading to the enhancement in the local magnetic ordering of the system. Furthermore, the spin polarization also exhibits a direct correlation, where the spin polarization increases from a mere value of 9% in the 43 nanocluster to 44 in the 79 atom nanocluster, which is kind of approaching to the bulk value of 40%. In the end, we have successfully synthesized the Ni2FeL nanoparticles, which exhibit high saturation magnetization, TC, and the effective anisotropy, and we were able to corroborate our experimental findings with the theoretical results as well. I would like to thank my lab group from NMIPL as well as the Computational Many-Body Physics, IIT Delhi, and QMAT committee for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka. You can have one or two questions.
So the Ni2FeL can also be prepared using just by melting these elements. Your results, how do they compare with the arc melting samples?
Sir, actually, in the arc melting samples, yes, we can create the bulk counterparts using the arc melting process that we also do in our lab. But for this, we have used the chemically synthesized material because we wanted to change the particle size, and that we cannot do in the arc melting method. So that we wanted to observe.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Actually, I'm missing one part of your talk, which is what's actually the motivation of making these things?
Sir, actually, at present, the Husler alloy compounds, they are widely explored, corresponding to the bulk counterparts. However, the nanoparticles, where we can actually study the particle size dependence of the various properties, the surface effect of the various properties, that is not well explored till date. So that was the motivation, where we wanted to explore the lower dimensional counterparts of the Husler alloys. And there have been several studies which have claimed that the nanoparticles, they kind of exhibit better or pronounced magnetocaloric effect, for an example, rather than the bulk counterparts. So even that was one of the motivation that we wanted to study this.
Okay, one last question from my side.
Yes,
You
sir.
have said that you have determined the particle size 45 nanometers.
Yes,
so
sir.
I could not understand what was the probe you used for.
So we have used the images software from the FSM images, where we have used the images software to calculate to measure the particle size, and that is an average value.
That will give you the grain size, not the particle size.
The
From SEM.
FSM and HRT measurements, both of them were performed. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Priyanka.
Thank you,
With this, I thank